Good morning, guys. It is Sunday, March 12th, and just finished watching a couple of videos posted by two people that I really follow a lot, and that is old Brett Ryder Chuck, who did a wonderful mail call, did a shout out to Ron, Wally's Place 66, and then a video posted by Ron, Wally's Place 66, where he and his family went to a syrup making facility. Just a wonderful little tour, and boy, I do remember. I can't partake of that stuff now these days, but I sure remember fresh maple syrup when I lived in Michigan, and even here in Ohio, where they make maple syrup. Certainly not as much as they do up north, but they do make it here. And yeah, guys, whew, I remember. Nice stuff. So thank you guys for those wonderful Sunday videos. Love it. So here, having finished that Hawk's knife series, which was a knife that had been in my mind on the back burner for so many years, and got that knife done, or that pair of knives, it put me in mind of other knives that have always floated around in my head that I've wanted to make. And one of them being this knife over here, which is a fighting style. It's not a knife I make a lot of, as far as that fighting style. I'm more of a hunting utility knife kind of guy. But I always had this one in mind, and in fact did draw this knife out to a pattern and had it ground out to a just a profiled piece of tool steel 20 plus years ago. Carried the blank around with me all this time, and about a year ago, something like that, got a notion just to go ahead and finish it. Now the challenge to that knife was not so much the length, but it was the double grind, and being able to grind that and get it straight now that I have it all smudged. But to get this double bevel nice and symmetrical and straight down the spine of the knife was a challenge. And it is a difficult thing to do, but I feel good about the way this knife turned out. Now, I don't have this totally completed yet. I still have to give it its final buff and its logo, but I have put an edge on it. And when I break out this stuff and start logoing knives for all those other knives that I have in the works, this will be included. And then you'll put it back in its sheath, and won't make another knife of that style unless somebody just requested it, and then they can do the negotiations and get something like this. But yeah, that one's out of my system. The Hawk's knife is out of my system, although it's a hunting style, and probably one I would be more apt to make another one of, other than something like this. But another knife that I've had in my brain for years is a Bowie knife. Now, Bowie knife, that's a very loose term in the knife making world, and it's kind of a disputed term as far as what really defines a Bowie knife. And really the general consensus to render the definition down is a Bowie knife is any large fixed bladed knife with a cross guard, and for me, a single edge. Now, this knife, although it meets the criteria in every other aspect, is a double-edged knife, and to me this is more of a dagger. A Bowie knife to me, and in this case, this style Bowie, which is called a Sheffield Pattern. It was made extremely popular by the wonderful bladesmiths in Sheffield, England throughout the 1800s. Really popularized this style of Bowie, and this kind of became the definitive style. So that's the one that I've always liked. And honestly, if you get a pattern in your head, if you see things that have impressed you, they come out in your designs. And though I really didn't realize it, if you look at the pattern of this knife, the geometry, you can see the Sheffield pattern here, where the double edge kind of drops down to a point, as it does on this one, and just about the same proportions. And I really didn't know that I was thinking about this style knife when I drew this one out. But, I sure was, subliminally, but it was there. So this knife, this is another one, a larger Bowie, and honestly, this length is about the limit to what I can heat treat in my furnace. So she measures, and I'm going to have to go in there diagonally with this, but it measures 13 and well, just shy of a 1/4 inch, 13 and 3/16, thereabouts. But I can get this into my furnace going diagonally, and we'll be able to get this one heat treated. Another thing that the Sheffield style Bowies have is a false edge on the top, and that's a grind, a shorter bevel, but the edge is not sharpened typically. And what it's to do is reduce the thickness up here in the stock to allow easier thrusting. This is a fighting style knife. This knife will have that. And just a typical round handle, nothing really to snag on, and a good cross guard to protect the user's hand. I also want to make a companion hunting style knife that suggests this design, and they're going to kind of complement each other. I haven't drawn that pattern yet, but I do have it in my head. Started with a paper pattern on this one. Of course, your paper patterns, after you transfer them onto your aluminum, this is the pattern for this knife. Then you hack this up and get your other patterns made, such as the handle pattern that I'm getting ready to make here on this 1/8 inch aluminum. So there's going to be a handle pattern, and there's going to be a crossguard pattern made out of this piece of aluminum stock. The crossguard for this is going to be made out of this 3/4 inch square brass. And as far as handle material, I toyed around. I just finished making a couple of knives with the elk antler. And I thought about making this knife out of that same material, but then I had found this piece of really nicely curled maple over at Woodcraft, and I don't know if you could see the curl pattern, but it's on all 4 faces, and this face here has more of a spalted look, which I really like. But then you get into this face, you see some really tightly defined curls. So I'm debating about which face to use. I'm probably leaning toward this face, because I just like that side grain look to this. But really, any way you go with this, you're going to wind up with a nice handle. So it's probably going to be this curly maple on both knives, and then of course the red fiber liner. This just adds a nice color for the maple along with the brass, to make a nice looking combination of colors. So this is not going to be a real involved, in-depth video series like my Hawks knife series was. What I intend to do is just show like the design phase, what we're going to be going for, and then just coming back to different stages of the build just to show you my progress. And then maybe in just maybe 2 videos is what I'm shooting for, is to take this from concept to completion on both knives, and we'll have sheaths, and we'll just come back and show you what they look like as finished products. And I don't know how long it's going to take me. I have many other knives in the works, and I do want to get those brought to completion also, but possibly sometime in May we'll be able to maybe show the finale on this, maybe sooner, I don't know. One of the things that will slow me down is the heat treating, because this being at a diagonal, I may be able to fit a couple of knives in there to the sides, but I don't want to jam my furnace too much, because I want each individual blade to be properly heat treated. And it's like drying clothes in a dryer. If you have too many clothes in the dryer, maybe nothing gets quite dry. So I don't want to take a chance on improper heat treatment, just trying to get more knives in the oven than I really need to do. So yeah, we'll be working on this one and just showing you our progress, and we'll be back when we're further along. You have a great Sunday, fellas. I really appreciate it.